of real property. It is mobile. So anything that can be owned, that can be moved, is personal property. Your car, personal property. Your phone, personal property. Your pen, personal property. Your cap, personal property. Your chain, personal property. Your hoodie, personal property. Okay? So anything, and the basic characteristics of that stuff is that you can move it. Okay? It doesn't matter how much it weighs. Okay? It could be a 2-ton truck. It could be a yacht that's humongous. As long as it's movable, it's personal property. Okay? It's not attached. Now, let's talk about personal property, because personal property can be divided in half. Okay? Personal property, real property has all these kids. Personal property has 2. Okay? Tangible personal property. The word tangible is a duck. The word tangible, and I like your face with that one, is a duck. What do I mean? If you can see it, if you can touch it, if you can smell it, if you can taste it, it's a duck. Okay? Tangible property is property that has substance. Okay? That has substance. Tangible property, tangible property, tangible property, tangible property, tangible property, tangible property. You can see it, it has substance. So you're beginning to think, okay, all property has a substance, right? All property has substance. That's probably what you're thinking. And the answer is no. Now, let me give you an explanation. Something that is going to make you look crazy if you do it. I know that most of you, and I would probably hasten to say all of you, have bank accounts, right? You have a bank account? You have a bank account? All right. Go to your bank. Test this out. See if the banker thinks you're crazy. And say, I want to see my $50. Does he go to the vault, open it up, and takes out and says, this one is the one that actually belongs to you and doesn't belong to anybody else? Does he do that? No, because what you have in the bank is not tangible. You have the representation of value. Okay? So any $50 that he gives you is your $50. Because your bank account is intangible. It's the representation of value. Now today, if you have been following, or you may even own some, there is this new currency. And it's called a Bitcoin. Okay? And it's all the rage. And Bitcoin actually isn't backed by any government, but people are exchanging it. Kind of like when you were much younger and you were exchanging Pokemon cards. I don't know if you were all into Pokemon cards. But when you were doing that, you were exchanging it as currency, right? One card was worth 3 of those. Because you had given it a value. That value that you had given it, if you had Charizard, the gold leaf one, it was very expensive, right? You had given it value. That value is tangible. Is it actual? So, tangible means a duck. And then the one that you can't see, which is represented by your bank account, is intangible personal property. Okay? Intangible personal property has value, but you can't see it, touch it, smell it, or taste it, or even hear it. Okay? It has value. Let's talk about some of the class of this. If you own stock in a company, that stock is the representation of value in that company. That piece of paper, you can't go and say, give me my kind of 1 share, which is this portion of the desk, and maybe a little bit of that carpet, because that's my 1 share in your corporation. No, the stock certificate is the representation of value of ownership, but is it actually something of value? Now you're probably thinking, well, but I can see, touch, smell, and taste the stock certificate. Yes. But the value of the actual piece of paper isn't what the stock certificate is about, right? The value of the piece of paper, the couple of pennies, the paper and the ink, and the actual graphics on it is worth isn't what the stock is worth, right? And a paper that's identical, that says Microsoft, might be worth completely something different than Shoe Carnival, which is actually a going concern that's doing quite well. But Microsoft is going for thousands of dollars per share, where Shoe Carnival is going for 50. Same piece of paper, same ink, same type of graphics, but the piece of paper is worth different things. So the piece of paper isn't the value, so therefore it's even the tangible nature of the paper isn't worth it. Now, somebody over there said, you get, when I said, what do you get with property? Somebody said money. Right? You said money, even when you weren't looking down. You said money. Now, I know that you're a poor college student. I know.
Damn, professor, just like that.
I know that all of you have at least $1, right? And when you take out that $1, when you take out that $1, is it tangible or intangible?
Tangible.
Tangible, because you can see it, taste it, smell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except, doesn't it change value every day versus the yen? Or the euro? So, your dollar, if it changes value like that, is the representation, just like a stock certificate, of value. Okay? The dollar that you get for worth of it is not the value of the paper or the ink or the graphics. So a dollar is intangible personal property. It's the representation of $1. A diamond is tangible. It has an intangible worth, but it's tangible, right? You can wear it and so on. Gold is tangible. It has an intangible value, but it's tangible because the actual metal, as I pointed out to your chain, the actual metal is what people want, not the representation of value with regards to that particular metal. Ever since we left the gold standard, I don't think that there is a country in the world that's still in the precious metal standard, right? Is there? Where the actual coinage of the country is gold and silver and platinum? No. Used to be that you know, you had gold $10, and it was a gold piece. We went off the value, and when we went off the value, we went to intangible worth. We went to intangible worth. So, that in essence is the family of property. Tangible, intangible, real property that's divided between buildings, land, and trees. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that transcend definitions. Trees can be real and it can be personal. Now, when can a tree be real property? The oak tree in front of the college is real property. It's there and it's not intended to be moved, right? It's not intended to be moved. It's not intended to go anywhere. So that tree is real property. On the other hand, crops, corn and wheat, that is grown for the purpose of being cut down and sold is personal property. Okay? So plants, when you're presented with an issue, this plant, you have to ask the question, what is its purpose? Okay? Because an oak tree at a nursery could be personal property. They're selling oak trees. It's intended to be moved to somebody's house. Once it's moved and it fixed there, it becomes real property. So there's property that changes its nature depending on the circumstance. I told you that fixtures, the air conditioning unit, was real property. And why? Because it's affixed, it's attached. You know, you're not going to take the air conditioning unit from the top of the building, take everything off, and take it with you. It's attached. Okay? But fixtures start off in life, if I can say that, in life. Fixtures start off in life as personal property. When it is being built, when it's being constructed at the factory, that factory is building that unit for the purpose of selling it. And therefore, at that moment, it is personal property that is going to be sold. It is only when it is sold and attached that it becomes part of real property. A mobile home, as I said before, while it's got the wheels and it's mobile, personal property. Wheels off, attached, real property. Okay? And we can play this game with lots of stuff. There are some cases, however. Now, let me try this. A refrigerator. Personal or real?
Personal.
It's big and heavy, but guess what? You disconnect it, you put it on a truck, and you move it. So, to that extent, it's personal property. And I would say that most courts would agree with you. However, there's a case where this particular apartment building was being built. And the apartment building was being fitted specifically with appliances and furniture that was going to be created for it. Okay? And in that case, the appliances, because they were designed to fit specific niches within the apartment building, the court found that they were real property. Most appliances, personal property. Okay? Now, what's the importance of the distinction? The importance of the distinction is that the law treats personal property differently than it deals with real property. For example, when we were talking about the statute of frauds not too long ago, I said to you that a contract for real property or an interest in real property must be in writing. Why? Because guess what? Real property is going to be here in the state of Florida, okay? In the United States of America, and the North American continent, way longer than you are. And therefore, laws for real property have to deal with the reality that that property is affixed there, and it's going to have many different owners. If not, think about when you buy a piece of property, or when somebody buys a piece of property. That property can be could be traced back all the way to when Columbus arrived, right? And in South Florida, you can actually find, and they call this a chain of ownership between buyer and seller, and buyer and seller, and buyer and seller. They call it a chain of title, okay? A chain of title. And you can track a chain of title from the grant from Spain to the United States when when Florida became a part of the United States. So you can track that because it's here. So therefore, the law that applies to real property has to be different, has to be considered differently than the law that applies to personal property, because personal property can be here, and it can be there, or it can be in both places. Okay? What do I mean by that? If you deposit in Hialeah your $100 check, you can go to downtown and take it out, right? And you can be in one teller. Somebody with your card can be taking money out of your account while you're taking money out of your account in another different state, because personal property has that fluctuation. And therefore, because you can be here and there and everywhere, the states have to deal and treat personal property differently. Okay? One more permanent, one whose basic characteristic is it's not permitted at all. It's intended to be moved. And why is it important to us? Why is it important to us? We're going to focus most of the time, not here, in real property. Because you will realize, as 10,000 did this, that most of the change, most of the law, what makes our economy pop, is personal property. Think about it. Those of you that are business majors, they say that China is a great market. Why is China and India a great market?
There are a lot of people.
Because there's a lot of Chinese people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of Indian people. Okay? Why are they great markets? Because wealth can be made there, not because you're selling to them land, right? The United States isn't interested in selling the Chinese land. We don't even own it. Not interested in selling the